Hey guys, welcome back in this SD-WAN lab. We are working on a Cisco SD-WAN version 20.9.4. In the previous section, we added the NTP, the network time template, and we know how important it is to have a network time server that allows you to synchronize the time of all your devices. And the goal of synchronizing the time of your devices is really crucial, because when you troubleshooting, let's give the example, if you're trying to troubleshoot several devices, you need to go through the logs of like device A and device C. If they are connected, you need to kind of check what happened at what time, and if the link went down at the same time. If the time is not the same, that can be kind of a challenge, but if the time is the same on all your devices, then it can really make life easy for you. So that's why we need an NTP server, in a network. In this section, we're going to see how you can add BGP. The goal of adding BGP is going to be to start with is to add a second transport for our edges at site 33 and site 44. So I already added BGP at site 11 and 22, at site 222, site 255, site 155, and site 111. So if we go to our MPLS router, we can see that we have BGP configured. Let me go there. This is the MPLS router. If we do show IP BGP summary, we can see that we have 6 routers with BGP. So we now need to add on the routers at site 33 and site 44. We can see the IP addresses 10.0.33.1, 10.0.44.1. So the third octet is to identify the site. And as soon as we're going to add BGP at site 33 and 44, we're going to have dual transport. Okay, because at this time, if I delete, we only have one transport out of each site. We only have the transport going to the internet. Well, let me delete this to put a color that's going to be different. We only have one transport, one going to the internet. So we need to add BGP session. That's where we can also route through the MPLS. But before doing that, let's run a couple of comments to kind of have a baseline. So if we do show OMPT log paths, we can see that we have some MPLS paths, but these are paths coming from the remote sites where I have MPLS added. So from this site, if we do show running config VPN 0, we can see that we only have one interface, and this interface is running with the color biz internet. So which means that's going to be the same for site 44. There is only one interface, the interface with biz internet. So there is only one transport working for these two sites. Let's check the routing table, show IP routes. Again, the same. We might see MPLS routes, but these routes are coming from the remote ends, because we did not restrict our tunnels. We're going to see what it means. Basically, if we restrict the tunnels, it's not going to be possible for an internet interface to create a tunnel with a MPLS interface. So at this time, it is not restricted. That's why the remote side running MPLS is also talking with the site 33, site 44, which are only running internet. but we're going to see that in the details. The other check that we can do is to see the number of BFD sessions. If we do show BFD sessions, or let me add a tab, we can see the BFD sessions that we have on this side. At site 33, it's about 20 BFD sessions. At site 44, show BFD sessions, or let me add a tab. Oh, sorry. If I add a tab on this side as well, we can see that we have about 20 BFD sessions. Okay, we're now going to start adding, we're now going to work on the template to add BGP at site 33 and 44. So you go to configuration, templates, and we always start by feature templates. And this is going to be for site 33 and 44. So add template, and this is going to be for the VH cloud, and it's going to be for BGP. We're going to give a name to the template and a description. That's the first step. So it's going to be, the name of the template is going to be S33 for site 33 and S44 for site 44 BGP. The description is going to be the same. So if you're not really familiar with how to configure BGP on a Cisco device, I'm just going to give a quick, a global, a general overview of how BGP works. Basically, with BGP you have two routers. Okay, like let's say router A and router B. They can be directly connected on a physical connection, or they can be they might not be directly connected. So that's different with other routing protocols. You're going to use the IP addresses of each side. Let's say this side is 1.1.1.1 and this side is 2.2.2.2. You need to specify the AS number of each router. Let's say this router is in, we put it in AS10 and the other router in AS20. This means that this is an eBGP session, external BGP. But if both routers are in the same AS, that's going to be an iBGP session. We're not going into the details of how BGP works, but this is just like if you want to build a BGP session, you're just going to start like with a router. Let me just show the config on my MPLS router. So if you go in my MPLS router and we do show running config section router, so you just need to start with the command router BGP and the AS number, let's say AS10, and then the next thing you just need to specify the neighbor. You run the command neighbor. The IP address is the IP address of the remote site, the other device, and you add the remote AS and the IP address of the remote AS. The logic is very simple. If this remote AS is the same as the local remote AS, that's going to be an iBGP session. But if the remote AS is different, that's going to be an eBGP session. So depending on the type of session, if it's an iBGP or eBGP, the rules of sharing routes, advertising routes are different, but we're not going into those details. So coming back to our template, so we want this session to be shut down. No, do we want this BGP session to be shut down? We're going to say no. Yeah, we're going to keep no, because if it's shut down, it's not going to work. The AS number, this is the the administrative system number. Okay, we want to make it device specific because each device at site 33 the AS is going to be 33, and at site 44 the AS number is going to be 44. So that's why we need to keep this device specific. The router ID is not mandatory, but if we want to add, we can also add. We can make it device specific. Propagate AS, we're not going to change any special parameters. We're just going to keep everything at the default. We just need to add anything that's required to make our BGP work come up. Unicast address family, we can ignore all this. Let me check what we have on other routers that are already running MPLS, like the one at site 11. If we do show running config VPN 0, okay, for this one BGP 11 address family IPv4 unicast neighbor, no shutdown. I think it's just a standard one, so we can ignore this part. But for the neighbor, we're going to need an IPv4 neighbor. So let's add the IPv4 neighbor, and this is the address is going to be device specific, okay, because we're not going to use the same address on both sites. Description, let me see what we have at site 11. At site 11, the description we did not add, so we can ignore, but we can also add just to see. That's going to be device specific. Remote AS also is going to be device. This is going to be the same, okay, so it's gonna be the same because they are all connected to the MPLS router. So if I go back to the topology, we can see that they are both talking with the MPLS router, and this router, the AS is 1000, so we can use the same. So we're gonna make it global. If I go back, remote AS, it's gonna be 1000. Address family we can keep off for now. Let me see at site 11. Yeah, we can keep it off. Shutdown or no. Advanced options, I don't think that we need any of that. All the time, keep alive, we don't need to change anything, so we can save the template. So we have the BGP template, but in order for BGP to work, like we said, we only have interface 0 for site 33 and 44. Let me pull that back. Okay, we only have site 00. So let's go back to site 11 and see. We're using GE03 for MPLS, so we need to add an interface because BGP is going to talk using the IP address on the interface, so we need an interface for that. Let's go back here and let's see what if we need to create a template. Okay, site, yeah, so we're gonna need to create a template. I can just copy this because site 11 and 22 are kind of set up in the same way. I'm going to copy this template and just change this. It's gonna be for 33 and 44. I'm gonna copy this and add here. So now I have the template for site 33 and 44. I can just edit it if needed. Let me see if there's anything that needs to be edited. So if I go back, shutdown or no, GE03 yes, transport MPLS, and IPv4 address, and the tunnel interface, and MPLS. Okay, the color for this interface is MPLS. So let me go back and give more details. Okay, so the tunnel, we need this interface to have the tunnel activated. The color of the tunnel is going to be MPLS. We could make it Biz Internet, but this side is talking MPLS. This is what I was talking about, restrict. If we do restrict, okay, we only going to have tunnels between MPLS on one end and MPLS on the other end, right? But for the time being, restrict is off. That's why it is allowing MPLS side to have tunnels with internet side. When we're going to progress in this lab, we're going to turn on the restrict to see what's going to change. And I think that's gonna be all we can. Okay, another thing that I'm going to keep off for now is the BGP service. Okay, we're doing this intentionally. We're gonna come back and turn it on just to see what's going to happen if you keep it off. And I think there's one small thing on the advanced options. We're going to, okay, nothing to change here, but I think that was on the tunnel. Hold on, sorry. Yeah, okay, on the advanced option, let's take note of the encapsulation, which is IPsec. It is turned on. Let's go back. I think there's something that I need to check. Okay, some other options. The IP meter, I'm gonna make it 1496 just to allow some overheads for the encapsulations. And also we can activate path meter discovery, and that's going to be global on, and I think that will be all for this. So I can update. Okay, now that we have those two templates, so we need the two templates, to create the interface and also to build the BGP sessions. Let's go to the device templates, and we're going to edit the templates, the device template for site 33 and 44. We're going to the three dots, edit. Okay, this is going to be for transport, for the transport VPN, which is VPN 0. So we're going to add the BGP, and we're going to select for site 33 and 44. We're going to add the interface, the MPLS interface for site 33 and 44. Okay, so we can update. So now we need to add the device specific values. So this is for site 33. The MPLS IPv4 address is going to be 10.0.33.1/30. Okay, and this is for GE. This is for the, I think this is for the internet. And the AS number of this router is going to be 33. The router ID, we can make it 33.33.33.33. And that's going to be all. I think something is kind of okay, so that's, I think that everything is good. We can update. On this side, we're going to do the same. The MPLS interface IPv4 address. Remember, we already chose the physical interface. It is GE03. That's why we don't need to select that. So we're going to add the .10.0.44.1/30, and the AS number for this router is 44. It is for site 44. The router ID 44.44.44.44, and we can update. Can click on next, and before pushing the config, we can see the config diff to see what's going to change in the routing, in the running config of both WAN edges. It's taking a little bit time, but I think it's gonna show in a moment. So this is the running config, but let's see the changes. I mean the new configuration after this is implemented. So we're going to create router BGP33 and the router ID, and we're going to add interface G33. We're going to make it we're going to add it in we're going to the meter is going to be 1496, and this is going to be the IP address. The color is going to be MPLS. BGP service is not going to be allowed. So let's go ahead and add. So there are a couple of things that I know are not right, but we're going to change them. So the first thing is the password. The password we added without password, and let's go quickly on the other side on the MPLS router. We're going to see that there's a password here, so but we did not add a password on the WAN edges. So that's going to create an issue until we fix that. Password is missing. The other thing that's missing is the I think BGP service is not allowed at this time. Okay, that's going to create an issue as well. And there's another thing that we're going to see. Okay, but let's go back and see on the R2, which is the MPLS. If everything is good, those interfaces are talking, but let's see the config on the WAN edges 33. WAN edge 33. We see that we have the GE33 created, but for the time being we're not seeing any password mismatch because BGP service is not even allowed. So let's go back. If we see on the BGP MPLS router show IP, we can see that those sessions at site 33 and 44 are still not up. Okay, we're not seeing any password mismatch yet because when BGP service is not allowed, that the interface, the GE33 on the WAN edge is not even sending BGP messages. So that's why we're not even seeing these logs for password mismatch here. Let's go back and add the allow the BGP service. We're going to feature template, and we're going to the BGP, no, the interface template, and we're going to allow the BGP service. So it's kind of, if a service is not allowed, packets related to that service are not going to be sent out of the interface, and that's something that you need to look at if your something is not working in your lab or in a real network environment, in a production network. So let's see, BGP is off. Let's turn it on and update. It was off, we turned it on, and let's push the config. As soon as the config is going to be applied, I'm sure we're going to start seeing like BGP mismatch messages. Okay, let's watch while we also checking the status of the configuration. So this side, we're trying to bring up these 2B BGP sessions. Let's go back here. It's still being pushed. If we go back, nothing yet. If we go back to the device, to the 33, show running config, BGP is now allowed. Okay, allow service BGP, because before there was no allow service BGP. On router 2, still no logs. Let me make sure that these interfaces are connected. Ping 10.0.33.1. They are connected. They are talking. 44. This is also working. So, but the BGP session we can see is not coming up. Okay, let's go back to the template to just update the password. Template feature. We're now going to add the password on the BGP template at site 32 and 44. That's going to be here, edit, and that's going to be on the advanced options of the neighbor section. So let's go to the neighbor. Looks like I didn't even add a neighbor. Yeah, that's why I'm not seeing even any mismatch, password mismatch here. And if we come here, we did not add the neighbor. So that's why we did not see. That's why I was kind of, okay, that's my mistake. So let's go back here. I'm not going to be, but I really want to see go step by step. So let's go back to the templates and disallow the turn off the BGP service. Sorry about that. But the way I do my labs, I just want to make sure that you can see issues that can be in real networks or in your labs. That's why I put all these tricks. Let's go back and we're gonna turn off the BGP service. Looks like when I was creating the BGP template, I forgot to validate the neighbor part, the neighbor section. So for services, it is going to be here. I'm going to turn it off. Seeing that it has taken time, I'm going to be a little quicker with this. So that's going to be pushed. I will just go ahead. I'm not going to wait for the logs. I will go to the feature template while that is being updated. To the feature template, we'll go to the BGP template for site 32 and 44. We need to add the neighbor now. So these are things like when you're doing something, when you're adding something, you kind of expect something to happen. If that thing is not happening, it's kind of like you can wonder if something is missing. That's called the order of operations. If you add something, you expect this to happen, and if you don't, you're not seeing that. That's kind of, I should have caught this when I was adding the device specific values, but I did not. My bad. So the address is going to be device specific. Description we don't need, but this time we can add. The remote AS is going to be the same, global. Okay, it's going to be 1000. And the advanced options, like I said, I'm gonna leave the password, no password at this time. But what I forgot to do was to add the section, the neighbor the parameters. And now if I update, it will ask me to update the device values for one age 33. I'm going to do that. Now you can see I'm being asked to put the neighbor IP address, which is 10.0.33.2, and the neighbor description, just we can say BGP MPLS router. Okay, I can copy this because this is going to be the same for the other device. Update. And on this one edge at site 44, the description is the same, but the IP address of the remote 10.0.44.2. I need to add a subnet mask. Looks like I did not do that. Sorry. Neighbor. Oh, no, this is not an IP address, but a neighbor. Okay, that's correct. Next, configure devices. Configure. So if we go back to site 33, let's see if allow BGP is now no allow BGP. Yeah, no allow BGP. Okay, but we need to confirm if the neighbor is going to be added, and we're going back to what we were trying to the steps that we were trying to follow. So it's sending, vmanage is sending the config. Let's see, the neighbor is added. Okay, but if we go to the MPLS, right, we can see now the MD5 mismatch logs. Okay, so that's I will take that back, which means even though BGP is not the service BGP is not allowed, BGP packets are being sent. We can see that. That's kind of a something that I learned on my own. So BGP service is not allowed, but we can see that BGP messages are going because the MPLS router is asking for the password. It's saying, okay, I want to create the BGP sessions with you guys, but you're not sending the right MD5, the right password. So let's go back and add it. We're going back to the configuration templates, feature templates. That's going to send us back to the BGP template, feature template, edit, and we're going to the advanced parameters of the neighbor. Oh, looks like I chose. Oh, this is the interface. Sorry. Oh, I need the BGP template. So this is going to be. Sorry. That's going to be for this template. Looks like I chose the wrong template. So we're going to the neighbor section. And we're going to edit. All this back and forth editing also help you see how you can do to make your changes and all those stuff. Yeah. So we don't need to change any of that. Only on the advanced options, we're going to add a password, because the password on the other side, if I show you, is Cisco. So we need to add that on the one edges side. Just need to edit because it's the same on the MPLS router, so it's going to be global, the same on all devices, Cisco. And we can save the changes, update, and we can push the template. If we quickly go back to one edge at site 33. We can see that the neighbor has been added without a password. Now that we're adding the password, that's going to be added in the running config, and we're gonna check if the BGP session is going to be up. If we check again, not yet. The config has been applied. We can see the password, but is the BGP session up? If we go back, we can see that these logs will stop because now the MPLS router side is going to say, okay, I got the MD5. It's okay. I'm ready to bring the BGP session up with you. But if we check, is the BGP session up? We can see it's still down. Now this is something that can throw you away if you, well, all the configs are right, everything is okay, but why is the BGP session not coming? Because we're not seeing any the BGP, I mean the MD5 mismatch messages are stopped, but the BGP session is still down. So in order to fix this, we need to go back to the templates. Now we need to edit the interface template, and we're going to allow the BGP service. So we're going to the last template. That's for the interfaces of site 33 and 44, the MPLS interfaces. And we're going to the services, and we're going to turn on the BGP service. Now you can see we kind of went back and followed the order of operation. We can see that things are kind of aligned with what we expect. And this is adding the config. We can go back here in a couple of seconds. We should see the BGP sessions up, because once kind of, if you're not allowing a service, it's kind of a firewall rule that's preventing. Okay, we can see the BGP sessions up. So that's done. If we go back to site 33 and 44, let's do some checks. Show IP routes. We can see, looks like we have more routes. Okay, let's see what we had before. Okay, the number of routes seems to be the same, but let's see the BFD sessions. Show BFD sessions tab. We still have the same number of BFD sessions. So why? So there is something that is still missing here. Let's go back to the I'm adding one at a time. That's where you can see the differences, and you can, if you want to build your lab, you can put everything together at the same time. But I just want to show some issues that you might run across with SD-WAN. So basically, the BGP session is up, but what is missing on edge 33 and edge 44? Let's see, show running config, VPN 0. One default route for IPv4 is the route going to the internet, because if we see this next op IPv4 address, it is 100.133.2, which is the remote side of 100.133.1 on the internet interface. So which means we're missing an IPv4 default route for the MPLS transport. So you might think, why do we need one? So it is required. To give a straightforward answer, you need a default route for each transport. You need a default route for the internet transport. You need a default route for the MPLS transport. You need a default route for any type of transport. So let's go back and add it. So in order to do that, we go back to configuration, templates, device. So until you add that default route, your stuff and your transport is not going to work properly. So where are we going to add this default route? So I need to think about this. VPN, so that's for VPN 0. Let me see where I need to add this. So let me see, site 11. Let me see if I have a specific template. Okay, I think I need to check it from the device templates side. For site 33 and 44. I think I just need to go here and see if I need to edit anything that's going to add that default route. No, not really this. Let's go back to the device template. And for site 33 and 44, let's change device values, because there are some parameters that are optional. So let's see if there's anything that we need to add. Nothing optional, but let me see. Cancel. Let's go back here, edit device template. Looks like I see what's missing. Let's go on the edge at site 11 and see how I got that template up. Okay, let's me go to the templates. Let me refresh, sorry. So basically the what we need is to add a default route, but I'm trying to see how I can add that, which template. It's going to be the VPN template, but I want to see how it was added on the site 1122. So let me edit here. And if I go down for site 11 and 22, the VPN 0 template is this one. So I need to edit this. But let me see if we're using the same 1 AMER edge. So let me go back. For site 33 and 44, we are using 1 AMER edge. Oh, that's not for it. 1 AMER edge. Okay, this is what I need to edit actually. So let me go back to let me take 1 AMER edge. Let me go to feature template and edit that one. The feature template of 1 AMER template. So that's going to be for this one. Edit. So basically what I need to do is to add a static route, but it's going to be optional. That's why I'm only going to add it on the edges at site 33 and 44. So taking a little bit long. Okay, so that's going to be for IPv4 route. You see there's already an IPv4 route, but this is only for the internet. I'm going to add another IPv4 route, and this is going to be device specific, and I'm going to add the keyword MPLS just to make sure that I recognize that the prefix is for MPLS. And we need a next op. The next op, I'm going to add also VPN MPLS keyword just to recognize that it's for MPLS. We're not going to change anything for the distance of the tracker. We can add. We need to mark this as optional. Okay, that's why we're only going to add it for site 33 and 44, because this template is also being used by other sites. So I can do add, and you can see this is optional. Update, and it's gonna ask me to edit. Okay, for both. Edit here. So you see it is optional. This is for site 33. The prefix is the same. It's basically for all subnets. And the next op is going to be 10.0.33. Dot 2. Yeah, that's the next hop. And for site 44, the next hop is going to be 0.0. It's going to be the same, but the next hop is going to be, the prefix is going to be 0.0.0.0, all subnets, but the next hop is going to be 10.0.44.2, and we can update. Next, configure, confirm. Okay, so now if we go back to our edges at site 33 and 44, we should expect now more tunnels, more BFD tunnels, because with SD-WAN, when a transport is up, it's gonna try to build tunnels, okay, IPsec tunnels with remote sites, okay, with all transports on the remote site. So basically in this case, like site 33 is here, it's gonna try to build an MPLS tunnel with site 11 and an internet tunnel with site 11. So we already have the internet tunnel. As soon as the MPLS transport is fully working, because it's missing a default route, it's not working. Okay, as soon as the default route is added, the transport is fully working, then the MPLS tunnel will be built with other edges. So I think the config is already applied. We can go back here and check. Oh, that's for edge 11. Let's go to edge 33. We can see that the default route has been added. If we check the BFD sessions, we can see we have more BFD sessions. Okay, we just had about 20, okay, before adding the default route. Now we can see we have more tunnels, because as soon as the transport is working fine, is up and running, that edge, the edge is going to try to build sessions, BFD sessions with all the other edges in the network. So that's what we can see. There are a couple of sessions that are down. That could be because of issues on the remote sites. Let's see which ones. At site 11.02, at site 255.02, okay, at site 1102, and at site 222.02. So this is something I know what's going on, but this is not really part of what we need to check on this for our config. That's what you need to go through in order to add BGP in your SD-WAN lab. You could add everything within at the first step. Okay, you don't need to go the way I did. I went the way I did just to show the tricks that can make your transport not work. But if you're doing it in your lab, add everything in one step. You can activate the service BGP, put your password if you're using. It is not required to have a password, but if you want one, you can add. Let's see if, the other thing, we can see that with the BFD sessions that something changed. So BGP, adding BGP has an impact on the transport. But let's see if the routes, we have more routes. So IP routes. Looks like the number of routes did not change. Okay, so that's something that you need to point. Okay, adding a transport does not really impact on the number of routes, but only on the number of tunnels. And we're going to see when we move along why do we if we need so many tunnels, if we need less tunnels, what these tunnels are going to do. Basically, the tunnels transport your data between your sites. Between site 33 to site 11, we can have like 3 tunnels, 4 tunnels. If packets are being sent, they are going to be sent through these tunnels. So if we go like show IP route, let me do something. Include 1111. Sorry, not sure why I'm having this issue. I can't. Okay, oh sorry, looks like I need really to type out to pull all this. Okay, so we can see that for between site 32 and site 111111 we have the same prefix. Okay, 172.11.10 coming from site 11, okay, because this is the IP address of site 11, and one prefix is coming through MPLS, the other one is coming through Biz Internet. We have another prefix for VPN 20, basically the same. One is coming, the same prefix is coming from through the MPLS network, and the other through the Biz Internet. But let's see the number of BFD sessions. Tab. If we do BFD sessions include 11.11.11.11, I don't know if I can add the word tab. This is where it's kind of slow to see. Okay. Okay, so the way we can see in terms of tunnels between site 33 and site 11, we have two tunnels, one tunnel MPLS to MPLS, one tunnel MPLS to Biz Internet, one tunnel Biz Internet to MPLS, one tunnel Biz Internet to Biz Internet. So we also have 4 tunnels. Okay, 2 tunnels per transport. So basically that was about adding BGP. We're going to I'm going to see you in the next section. We're going to add the TLOC extension. That's going to be to have an extension of a transport to the other device, and we're going to see the details. That was all. I will see you in the next section. If you liked, please like. If you're not part of the channel, please subscribe. I will see you.